afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Future Theatre. My name is Mark Lee. It is my pleasure to be presenting to you this afternoon on the subject of robo-accountants and how to beat them. Now, that means you are going to learn three things this afternoon. You are going to learn what we mean when we talk about robo-accountants, or if you like, robo-accounting software. You're also going to learn what that's going to mean for you and your practices. And then thirdly, you're going to learn what action you can take in the near future to be ready for that and in order to beat the rise of robo-accountants. Before I start, though, I need to ask a question. This is an active question, so it requires a response. How many of you in the room consider yourselves to be special and different from other accountants that might be here today? We have a few hands up, not very many. I will keep an eye out for those people who had their hands up because I will need you in a moment. The challenge a lot of accountants have is that they think that they're not special and different, but in fact you are all special and different. You all have different experiences, different backgrounds, different knowledge, different client bases. As a result of that, the service that you provide is special and different to other accountants. The output may be the same, a similarity of the tax returns, the accounts, maybe the audit or whatever it is that gets filed. But the service that you provide, because you are special and different, is distinct from other accountants. And if you like, that's the first lesson I would invite you to take away today. You are special and different. Now, it is at this stage that I have to offer you a quick magic trick. Some of you may be aware I'm a member of the Magic Circle. In fact, I'm treasurer of the Magic Circle. And that means there is I am obliged, whenever I present a talk, to do a quick card trick or a trick of some sort. We could imagine that these are 52 accountants. In fact, they're 52 playing cards. And of course, having been at Accountex even for just a few hours, they are pretty confused and mixed up. Now, the thing about these playing cards is that they are all special and different from each other, and I'm going to invite three of the accountants who said that they were special and different. We'll put a rubber band around them. I'm going to invite three of the accountants who said that they were special and different to each look at one card and remember it. What I'd like you to do, I shall throw it to you first, sir. You said you were special and different. You can stay sitting down. I'm going to invite you to take the pack, flick it up wherever you like, look at the card, remember it, maybe show it to the gentleman next to you. Would you do that for me? Can you catch the pack? That's what the rubber band's for. Thank you. Just have a quick look at one card, remember that card, close the pack up again. Somebody else who said that they were special and different, Nicola. There, would you toss the pack to Nicola, please? Oh, even better. Nicola, do the same, team. Just have a look at one card. Okay, close the pack up again. And somebody at the back who said that they were special and different. There, would you catch his eye before you throw it rather than when you throw it? Thank you very much. Have a look at one card, close it back. Okay, remember those three cards. If you throw the pack back to me, please, sir, on the count of three. Never mind, that was my fault, I apologise. Would the three of you, please, who stood up, the three of you took a card, each of you stand up, please, because I'm going to try and identify which three cards that you chose. So if you just stand up for a moment, you can stay where you are. I had a premonition last night. It wore off, but I enjoyed it, so I had another one. And I've got three cards here. If you picked one of these three cards, would you sit down? The King of Clubs, the Eight of Diamonds, the Five of Hearts. Wow! That has never happened before. King 8-5. That is weird. Never happened before, but it bodes well for the future. And we're moving into the future, aren't we? So the talk today, as I say, is about what do I mean by robo-accountants? What's going to be the impact of robo-accounting software, and how can you beat them? So by the end of the session, at 1:45, you will have clarity as regards the future of the impact robo-accountants on accountancy. You'll be able to plan your own actions and you'll know what action you are going to take. But first, I have to dispel some fake news. Now, I used to talk about debunking. I still do. My business card, as some of you may know, which I took out of my pocket just now, is in the shape of a bookmark. And on the bookmark, there's a number of words that could describe me. They're all polite. This last one here says debunker. So we're debunking some fake news here. 3 pieces in particular that I think will come as good news to those of you who've chosen to be here today. The first one, you must learn blockchain. When I was researching this talk, I cannot tell you how much material I downloaded because I realized how important it was to understand blockchain, and clearly that was going to be a main part of my talk. And then I realized it wasn't, because you don't need to understand blockchain yet. Yes, blockchain technology will underpin a lot of transactions in the future. It will have a major impact on audits in the future. But for the general practitioner at the moment, you don't have to worry about blockchain. Great relief. If you are interested in it, fine, knock yourself out. It's fascinating, but it's not something that warrants more than just a brief mention in today's talk. Second bit of fake news. We've heard it for years. For 10 years, I have heard people saying, if you don't embrace the cloud, your practice will collapse, your practice will die. How many people in the room have already embraced the cloud? Okay, that's about a third. That's great. The rest of you, you don't have to embrace the cloud, at least for the next few months. I'm not sure I'd leave it much longer than that, but if you're looking to retire or sell your practice within the next 2 or 3 years, you still don't have to embrace the cloud, but you will almost certainly get a better price for your practice if you're looking to sell it after you've systemized and your clients are on the cloud and your practice itself is in the cloud. But you don't have to embrace the cloud yet. Your practice won't die, it will just die over a long period if you do nothing about it. Third bit of fake news I want to debunk is very much the theme of today's talk. The robots are replacing you. Now, as you may have realized, I'm not going to be talking about walking, talking robots. The robots are coming, but they are years away. It will be years before you as an accountant are replaced by a walking, talking robot. That's great. I cannot tell you how many predictions I have seen over the last few years predicting the end of accountants, that you're going to be replaced by robots. Whether we're talking about Forbes, the ACCA report, Oxford University report, BBC, Ernst & Young, most of these reports all go back to the same sort of material, and invariably they are referencing accountants who work in-house in finance teams rather than accountants in practice. Because accountants in practice will not be replaced by robots for years and years. It's not round the corner. But the speed of robotic process automation will have an impact on jobs in finance teams and maybe amongst your junior staff. That's very different from accountants in practice being replaced by robots. So perhaps it's a good time then to question, what do I mean when I talk about robo-accountants? Well, despite the imagery, and I do like the imagery, I really don't mean walking, talking robots. I'm talking about robotic processes and software. And in effect, it mimics what we as accountants do. I say we, I'm no longer in practice as an accountant. I stopped all that years ago. But my background is such, I do understand what you do, and I work with accountants in practice every day. If I'm not speaking on stage, I'm working with sole practitioner accountants to help them be more successful. So the systems that are coming forward will mimic what we do at the most junior level, and perhaps a bit more. They will undertake the time-consuming, repetitive, automated tasks that is the backbone of so much of what accountants in practice have done for years. And what that means is that we will have the opportunity to work hand in hand with them with that software so that it doesn't replace us. It works alongside us. It works with us. It helps us to provide a better service to our clients. Because we will be left, and it may be 10 years down the line, but we will be left only doing, frankly, what we do best and why accountants come to us, demonstrating our insights, providing support, providing advice that is valued by clients. If you have a practice that is focused around compliance services and you're not providing insights, support and advice, you will be challenged to retain and build that practice into the long-term future. But fortunately, we're not worried about the long-term future. We've got the short-term to worry about. And I offer you my first prediction, first tweetable prediction, if you like. Within 10 years, I can't tell you if it's going to be 5 years, 11 years or whatever, but within 10 years, robo-accountants or robo-accounting software will be doing most of what general practice accountants do on a day-to-day basis in 2018. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It might happen within 5 years, but it's no more than 10 years away. And there is a wealth of research and a development of software, artificial intelligence, machine learning processes, just makes that so obvious when you look into it. Bit scary, but hopefully not. There's examples all around Accountex of how this is already starting to happen. Cloud accounting, bank feeds, mobile receipt capture, chatbots, online meeting, what I call simplistic AI. Anybody else get frustrated like I do with Google, Siri, Alexa or Bixby? This is the simplistic AI on our phones, in our homes. We ask it to do something, we tell it what we want, and it doesn't always get it quite right. It's astonishing how good it is, given how much it's in its infancy. Just imagine what that's going to be like down the line in a few years' time, 10 years' time. It will be astonishing. Did you see a week or so ago, Google announced, Google, forgotten their name now, Duplex, thank you, Google Duplex, I think, which can make telephone calls for you and appointments for you, and it mimics human speech. It's quite scary. I'm not absolutely sure that accountants would want to be using that to encourage clients to make appointments with them, because surely you want to engage with your clients. But who knows where Google Duplex is going to lead us. Now, if you're not already familiar with this stuff, bear in mind that those top three are already revolutionizing the way that small one-man, one-person businesses are doing their own bookkeeping and reducing the amount of engagement they have with their clients. I have a number of friends, fellow speakers, magicians, who are astonished at what they can do in the cloud with a direct bank feed and capturing their receipts on their smartphones. As a result, they need less of their accountant's time. They are willing to pay less for their accountant's time. That is why, if you continue to focus your practice on compliance work for smaller businesses, contractors and one-person businesses, you will either have to attract a lot more of them or find other clients who will pay you for advice, because there's a limit to how much advice you can give those sorts of clients. AI is not something of the future. I referenced simplistic AI just now. Have you come across IBM's Watson? Watson is the future of AI. It is here now. It is already described as being a platform for professionals. It is available to professionals. Now that might seem a little esoteric, but have you ever heard of H&R Block, the American UK tax preparation service? that completes tax returns for millions of Americans in the States, personal tax returns. Just over a year ago, in February 2017, H&R Block signed a deal to use IBM Watson and to make that available to their staff completing tax returns for Americans around the US. 70,000 people have access to Watson, which combines knowledge of the entire US tax code and, get this, 600 million data points. That is more tax knowledge than any one tax advisor can have. It's more tax knowledge than all of the tax advisors in all the big four firms combined and available to junior people helping complete tax returns in the US. And this is available now. It's astonishing. So beyond AI, what else is coming in the relatively near future? Well, transactions underpinned by blockchain, big data and data analytics. There are talks about these subjects. There are exhibitors on these topics around Accountex today. The Internet of Things, cryptocurrencies, biometrics, and powerful quantum computers. That's in the general world. What about for accountants? Well, for accountants, the apps ecosystem. If you haven't got into the cloud yet, you're probably unaware that it's not just about cloud bookkeeping. It's about identifying and helping your clients choose which apps to use within their system. I'm not talking about an app that promotes your business. I'm talking about apps that clients use on a day-to-day basis under your guidance, maybe your tutelage, to get the knowledge and information that they need. It won't be too long before our practices are impacted by the facility for the revenue to access and suck in pre-formatted data about clients' income, particularly people who have very low levels of expenses, employees, pensioners and the like. That's going to reduce the number of people who need an accountant to help them unless that accountant is focused on providing them with advice. There are 3, to my knowledge, combined accounting and combined bank systems and bookkeeping systems already available. Counting Up, Coconut and Tide. Tide have an exhibition stand here today. A combined bank account and bookkeeping system. They're all a little different. They're all going to have a major impact on clients who are attracted to that type of software. And we're going to look so silly if we don't know what they're talking about. AI support systems, I've already referenced that. They're getting bigger and better and more advanced, reducing the need for us to know everything. We simply have to be able to interpret it for clients. And then the audit and assurance that we provide is going to change as a result of far more transactions being underpinned by blockchain technology in the not too distant future. And I've heard it said that as a result of the facility to audit every transaction using artificial intelligence and the underpinning of transactions through blockchain, the statutory audit may well be abolished by the time we get to 2030. Huge, huge changes that will have an impact on accountants in the future. But the future's already here. Just a couple of examples. The first one there, robo-advisors already exist in the financial advisory world. They don't quite provide financial planning advice, but the artificial intelligence is built into the system to help people with basic financial planning. They just don't get financial advice. And Onfido is a new verification engine to help you access and verify client data, client identification data for anti-money laundering purposes. And it builds on and uses artificial intelligence to do that. This is already here. So we're already aware of part of the impact of the rise of robo-accountants. What else is going to happen? Well, I suggest, and I've implied this already, that clients' perception of the value of the basic compliance service will fall over the next few years, which means you will have to evolve the services that you provide, or, as I said earlier, you will need to attract far more clients because you'll be making more money, so you'll be making less money from each of them, or you'll need to evolve the services that you provide in order to generate the same sort of income, profits and lifestyle that you've always wanted. The perceived value, clients' perception of the value of compliance services will fall, so what you do must evolve. Now, there are people here who will tell you we are currently going through a period of unprecedented change. And I understand that, but I don't agree. Because my career, as you might be able to guess, dates back quite a way, and I have seen huge changes. And I see a few other people with grey hairs here who will recognise the change and the transformation I'm going to take you through. When I started training as an accountant in the late 1970s, comptometers were on their way. Does anybody in the room know what a comptometer is? You're not old enough, Della, I don't believe you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Comptometers were on the way out. We were just getting the handle on pocket calculators. And we had 16-column analysis pads. And then when I moved to Touche to specialise in tax, we had the first forms of spreadsheets, we had WANG, word processing systems, and the beginnings of the internet and Google. And it was only when I went freelance in 2006, after websites had been developed, Google was popular, the internet, it was only then that the future really started to happen, and we got into cloud accounting, cloud computing, being able to work in a mobile way on our smartphones, software as a service became common. That's when the world really started to change, only in the last 10 or 15 years or so. And those were periods of huge change. All the way down the line, people said, unprecedented change. It's always unprecedented change. But the thing is, all of those changes had one thing in common. They all made our lives easier, but they didn't change what we did for clients, the services we provided for clients. We were able to do compliance work. It was easier. The systems, the facilities, the access to knowledge and information became easier and easier. The big difference we have now is that the changes that are coming are going to force us to focus on what we do for clients rather than simply how we do things for clients. Last week, I posted a question on LinkedIn. I said that I had 2 blank slides in this talk that I'm giving for Accountex, and I asked for examples of forward-thinking accountants who are well ahead of the curve, because I'd like to feature them in this talk. Now, that post on LinkedIn attracted almost 9,000 views and had over 50 comments. Many from forward-thinking accountants, many from people recommending forward-thinking accountants, although, to be fair, not as forward-thinking as I was hoping for. Most of them had embraced the cloud. Yippee! I wanted people who were beyond that, beyond the curve. What I was looking for were accountants who were already focused on giving advice rather than focused on compliance work. So I picked these 2. The first one, O'Byrne and Kennedy. It's a 2-partner firm in Waltham Cross, Enfield, north of London. They win much of their business as a result of attracting prospects to their business-focused seminars. And the focus of the firm is evidently on helping clients achieve business success. Their services cover accounting, but they're focused very much on consulting and training. Indeed, they run their MBA program for clients who didn't, as they say, clients who didn't go to managing director school before starting their business. The second firm, also is a two-partner practice, two-director practice, based in Corsham near Bath in Wiltshire, Clear Vision, and their website barely mentions compliance services. They don't want clients who are looking for compliance support. Their focus is on showing dozens of short client case studies that evidence that this is a firm focused on giving advice. And if you want the sort of work that is attracted, sort of clients who are attracted to firms like these, you need to evidence what you do and how clients benefit from that advice. A website that is focused on your compliance offering isn't going to attract the clients who want business advice. We'll come back to more of that later. I think it's important to look at things in the round, not just the rise of robo-accountants. We are living in a period where there are huge societal changes as well, which will impact the future of our accountancy practices. People are living longer, they're working longer. So there will be some clients who are much older than us. The gig economy is causing there to be more one-person businesses, but maybe they're not really businesses. Will they need an accountant's services? Will they value an accountant's services? Younger entrepreneurs see less of a need to employ a finance director than a chief technology officer or a chief marketing officer. But there's plenty of accountants offering virtual FD services, which is a precursor to employing somebody at a senior level on the finance side. And shorter careers. Not everybody who goes into accountancy is going to stay in it as long as I did. I'm on my 5th career. Children's party entertainer. That's what I started as. Accountant, magician, tax advisor, speaker, mentor. 5 careers. Some people who come into accountancy will not stay as long as we did. And others will come into it later. There'll be older, new hires. People who've got an interest in accounting as a result of running a business, but they're going to want to be advising very soon. They're not going to need to do the training. People are looking for more work-life balance. They won't work the hours that some of us worked when we were younger. We're more data conscious. Friday is GDPR Day. You're excited about it. If you've done everything you need to know, you're aware of the importance of being more careful as regards the personal data that you store, how long you hold it for, and the like. There's expertise around at Accountex to help you if you're not. There's a great guide on the Tony Margratelli's group. Thank you, in the ICPA stand. I appreciate you being here. On the ICPA stand, a simple guide of what you need to do that I wrote for the ICPA. I wrote it back in January. There's no detailed guidance in there, headlines of what you need to do. A lot of people have found it very helpful. Accountants' reputations, are they where they could be? Some people choose not to highlight the fact that they are accountants, but they're able to help clients with their accounting and bookkeeping. Are the big firms messing things up for us here with their reputations? Can we distinguish ourselves? When we say that we are qualified, when we say that we are chartered, when we reference our qualifications, do we highlight to people how they benefit from those qualifications? Or is it just something that we're proud of? Clients need to know how what we say will benefit them. Making tax digital, or as QuickBooks prefer to call it, making tax delightful. Or making tax difficult. It's going to impact what happens in the future. I know we've only got VAT coming in next year and the rest of it's put on hold. It will happen. Those of you who think, no, the revenue are listening, they're not going to do it, it will never work. It works in Australia. That's why they think it will work here, and they will make it work here. It will just take a little bit longer than they thought. And of course, how many people in the room outsource some of what they do? Only a very small number. There are great outsourcing companies here. I always talk about Vipul Sheth from Advanced Track, who I know very well. Outsourcing is not the same as offshoring. But again, more accountants will say, hey, you know what, if we're going to do basic bookkeeping, why do it and pay people £15, £20 an hour when we can get it done much cheaper than that? And then we can compete with clients trying to do it themselves, but provide them with a better service. How is this all going to impact you and your firm? Well, I'd suggest there are 4 areas to consider. There's your firm, your people, your clients, and the work that you do. So first of all, your firm. Despite what some people will say, not everyone's going to be affected by robo-accounting in the future in the same way. Your client base will influence how your firm is affected and what action you need to take. If you currently have small clients, if you're one of the people who say to me, Mark, it's all very well talking to me about giving advice and becoming a trusted business advisor, but none of my clients want business advice. None of them can afford to pay for it. None of them see the value of it. I understand, I sympathize. Some of the accountants who work for me know that I've challenged this. Are you sure it's every single one of your clients feels that way? Maybe there's 1 or 2. Maybe some newer clients might be attracted to the provision of business advice. But you're absolutely right. If you've got a load of very small clients who don't have growth ambitions, clearly you can't give them business advice to any great extent that will be of great value to them. You have to start looking at evolving your client base. Don't leave it too late. How big is your practice? That will have an impact. What about the demographics of the staff and the partners in your practice? Young, old? Who's responsible for the choice of cloud software and for technology and apps? Is it somebody in their 50s or somebody in their 20s? Some large firms, the managing partners of some of the largest firms, top 20 firms, have young guns on their management teams to help ensure that the knowledge of the management team reflects younger people's thinking. The location of your practice will matter. It's a lot more difficult to generate a bigger, varied client base if you're out in the country than if you're in the city somewhere. And also your ambitions. What is it you're looking to do? Is it a lifestyle business for you, or are you looking to grow a bigger practice, an accounting empire? And by the way, if you want to be an effective business advisor, if you want to be seen as a business advisor, please ensure that your clients can see that you are advising yourself or taking advice or working with somebody who's advising you on your business. Do as you would be done by. Some of the accountants that I'm working with, members of the inner circle, are now advising their clients. They take the knowledge and information and the approach that we adopt in our mentoring sessions and then replicate that for their clients. Because you can't just make it up. You won't have credibility, you won't grow your practice. So I said your people, different age groups of your people will impact the way that you're able to advise your clients going forwards. Different generations will respond in different ways to different attempts to recruit them. They'll have different skill sets. Their career paths, what they're looking for, will be different. The lengths of their career paths will be different. The prospects that they want will differ. And their retirement will be different. Some will retire a lot younger, and some of the older people you have may want to hang around, but what are they going to do? All issues that will impact how you prepare for the future. Your clients will also be of different generations, or maybe of different generations. They'll have different preferences, different communication methods. How many of your older clients favor engaging with you on Facebook or WhatsApp? Younger people are used to using that all the time. Many accountants, younger accountants perhaps, are used to getting correspondence or communications from clients across new mobile communication facilities. Communication styles. Younger people are used to threaded conversations and being able to audit the conversation trail in a way that you can't do with letters, and that it's challenging to do with emails. They're using Slack and other communication methods. Their compliance needs will differ. The services they require will differ depending upon their age, their background, and what it is they're trying to achieve. And their preference for fees will differ. Older clients, many older clients, are still prepared to accept that you're billing them for the time that you spend, no matter how incompetent and slow you are. Younger people recognize that that is a historical approach that doesn't work for them. If you want to attract younger clients, you will struggle if you're still quoting time-based fees to them. That's fine as long as you're not looking too far into the future. And finally, your work, the balance of your work. Many of the accountants, when they started working with me for either mentoring or the inner circle, almost over 3/4 of their fees came from compliance work. I suggest that your fees split into 4 categories. Compliance work, which is probably the majority, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. The ad hoc work. Ad hoc work, for me, is work that you do occasionally. Maybe it's either as a result of a third party like the revenue, opening an investigation or an inquiry, and you have to do some extra work, or perhaps because the client's undergoing a transaction of some sort, a purchase or acquisition, or maybe a sale. Work that you don't do for them every year. Ad hoc work, driven by some external factor. Third type of work, you might do special work because you have some special expertise in particular areas of tax consultancy, like David has over there, or insolvency, or some other particular expertise. And then the fourth area is what we laughingly call business advice. Anybody in the room? No, I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up for this because it could be embarrassing. Some people in this room may describe themselves on their websites as accountants and business advisors. Great. My question, my challenge for you is, when was the last time a client agreed to pay you for business advice without you having to sell it to them? And when was the last time you actively encouraged a client to pay you for business advice? Or is the business advice that you give only available on request and you don't get asked very often? It's an embarrassing question, that, for some people, I know. So by 2028, 10 years down the line, it is quite likely that the mix of your work will be different, and the level of the proportion of your fees that come from compliance work will inevitably be much smaller, unless you've built a sausage factory with systems and processes to act for far more clients, where you can provide compliance work just as effectively. Where does all this leave you? It leaves you focused on doing what you do best and what clients really want. They're buying from you trust, confidence, peace of mind. They're buying the results of your experience and expertise. They want a helping hand, understanding how to interpret the knowledge and information that's being shoved out of them through artificial intelligence, through the bots, through the apps. They want your insights, your experience, and support. You need to show that you are more human than the robotic processes that they're getting, than the robotic software. And think for a moment, because this has huge implications as regards the leverage you can have in your practice, because how many junior staff can do this stuff where it's of value to clients? Huge challenge going down the line. So let's imagine a notional accountant in 2018. Robbie is an accountant. His website doesn't look vastly different to many other accountants. These are the compliance services we offer, and these are our advisory services, because we are accountants and business advisors. It's just that actually we haven't done very much of that, because we wait for clients to ask us for it, and it's a challenge to get paid for it. Now, if you think that's tough at the moment in 2018, let's roll forward 10 years to 2028. Robbie has become Robo. And he's providing a vast array of services here, some of which you've never heard of. One of them I made up. You'll have to work out which one it is, no prizes. But all of them will require Robo to engage with people and encourage them to come to him to buy those services. Because the challenge we have here is clients have to have somebody help them prepare a set of accounts and file tax returns at the moment. As that gets simpler and easier, as a lot of tax return data gets automatically fed to the revenue, they're not going to have to buy business services, business advice. We're going to have to become better at knowing how to serve clients, and I say serve rather than sell to clients, but it's two sides of the same coin. A lot of you will know that I engage a lot with accountants online. I do it on Accounting Web, I do it on LinkedIn, I do it on Twitter. It's disappointing how many accountants will engage with me and say, yes, I understand about all those changes coming, but I don't want to get into advice. I am going to carry on providing that service that my clients need: compliance, bookkeeping, and tax returns. And that's great, but they are assuming that the past is a good guide to the future. And it isn't. You cannot force fit the future into your current business model. And I think this, when I came up with this, and I think it's mine, I was really quite proud of this, because I think this is crucial. We are tempted to go, well, this is what we've known, this is what it's like, we'll continue doing what we're doing. But the future is going to force us to change. So the last few minutes, how are we going to beat robo-accountants, the rise of robo-accountants? My friend Rohit Talwar, a global futurist, says when you're planning for the future, you need to do it in 3 blocks. Look at 3 time horizons at the same time. The first one is easy. They say a week is a long time in politics. 18 months is a pretty long time to a general practitioner and to an accountant. But we need to look at the next 18 months. What are we going to be doing over the next 18 months? We also, at the same time, need to look at the next 2-3 years and anticipate what is coming, what's going to change and how that's going to impact our practice. MTD will be here. Cloud accounting will be much more advanced than it is now. There'll be work to be done. And then that third time frame, 4 to 10 years down the line, we have to consider our future drivers. We need to have a strategy in place. Our plans may change, but if you put a strategy in place, first of all, you will be perceived as more likely to be an effective business advisor, because it's one of the first things you talk to clients about is their business strategy and their long-term plans. Have you got one? Is it on your website to evidence the fact you know what you're talking about? By the way, even the biggest firms are struggling to go more than 10 years down the line. So 4 to 10 years. Realistic goals and plans for the future. Be patient and be nimble. Understand the future drivers that are going to impact your goals and your strategy. Plans. A plan, I like to say, is a dream with a deadline. It's not just, we're going to be really rich and successful. Yeah, but how are you going to get there? Informed projections, recognizing the fact that the future will be different to the past. Systemize your workflows and processes. Even if you're planning to sell up in the next few years, that will make it easier to sell your practice. You get a higher price for it. Build a future team, different ages you might need to consider, and reduce your reliance on compliance. What can you do now in the near future? In the short term, develop and expand your business advisory services. Get into the cloud if you're not already there. I said earlier, Your practice won't die if you don't get into the cloud, but it's only when your own bookkeeping is in the cloud will you really start to get it. Hands up how many people's practice bookkeeping is in the cloud. You see, that's far fewer, thank you, that's far fewer than the number of hands that were up at the start. They've got clients in the cloud. It's not the same. When your own practice is in the cloud, you start to understand the app's ecosystem. You're able to talk more knowledgeably to clients. I wouldn't be investing hugely in fixed costs at the moment over the next few years. Wait and see what happens. Explore new technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain apps if you want to, and ensure that junior roles are appealing. The big firms have stopped recruiting so many graduates because they can see that the junior roles that they have over the next few years won't be appealing to graduates. There's some hygiene factors. Is your website fit for purpose? Does it work on mobile phones? Does it highlight who you are as a person? A load of blog posts on these on my website that you can access. And LinkedIn. Don't be one of those people who goes, oh yeah, LinkedIn's a job site. No, it's not. It's great for jobs. It's great for people finding you. If you're not connected with me, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I've already got over 7,000 connections there. That means it's easier for people to find you if you're connected to somebody who's well connected there. And one of the things you can access from me is my free LinkedIn profile tips. Just tick the box on the form if you want it. And you can use it to search for the type of people you want as clients in the future. That's far better than going to networking events and hoping you're randomly going to meet them there. Client services that you're going to provide. Plan how you're going to do it going forwards. Develop your key business skills. It's astonishing how many accountants have spent so long only focusing on technical skills. I have to tell you, you can be a technical genius, you won't win new clients. Clients need more from you than your technical knowledge. Make sure you invest time in developing what I have long called key business skills, KBS. There's loads of them. I'm starting a new program in the summer. Those people on my list will get access to that to help you identify which key business skills you need. I'm not going to be providing all of them. It's not something that I do. There's just 6 there that I would focus on in the near future. Further down the line, we'll need to look at key business skills, many of which don't even exist yet. There's nobody to teach you how to do this stuff yet, because you don't need to do it yet. Key business skills, KBS. Do you remember those 3 cards that were chosen at the start of the talk? What was it? The King of Clubs, the 8 of Diamonds and the 5 of Hearts. I knew there was a reason I was pleased about that. KBS, it's almost like K85, isn't it? I knew there was a reason I was pleased you chose the cards that you did, at random from a shuffled pack at the beginning. Thank you for that. 45 minutes ago, I promised you that I would enlighten you as to what is coming in the world of robo-accountants, robo-accounting software, that I'd help you identify what action you need to take generally and identify what you're going to do in the short term as well. I hope you feel I have fulfilled that promise. I have one last thing for you. Don't go to that page on my website. Unfortunately, my new website went live at the beginning of the week. The link doesn't work. If you want copies of the slides, LinkedIn profile notes, any of the stuff that's available free for accountants, you need to connect with me, ask for it, fill in the form, give it to me or leave it on the desk at the end, and I will send you whatever it is that you want next week. Very, very happy to do so. I hope you feel that I fulfilled the promise there. Let me leave you with one final thought. I thank you for your time and your attention at this biggest of the Accountexes that we've had. You understand what is coming in the world of robo-accountants, robo-accounting software. You understand what you need to do generally. I'd encourage you to make me a promise. It's one of the things that's highlighted in my 6 time secrets that I make available to accountants who want it. It's the only thing that is going to make a difference to you and make it worthwhile you having been here today, listening to me, giving up 45 minutes of your time, for which I'm grateful and I hope you feel has been worthwhile. The one thing you must do is identify one thing that you will do afterwards. That one thing might be putting in place a strategic plan. It might be identifying your client base and looking at which clients you could start providing business advisory services to. It could be any of a number of things, but please, please think about what that one thing will be. Promise yourself you'll do it, and then take action and make sure you do that one thing, and then you'll be on your way to beating the robo-accountants. Yes! Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Tweets up.
Thank you.